I actually I missed that hyphy movement. I missed
Oh
that shit,
man.
bro. That was an
So hard.
interesting time. That 2003, like that shit. That 2002 to 2003. That was an interesting time, boy. Oh my god.
TL crunk music, then the hyphy
Music.
music,
Wow.
Jose Cuervo.
Yeah, the Bay was running shit, man.
I saw all the guys in the front row at the Golden State Warriors game, so you know it worked out for them.
Yep,
You know it
yep.
worked out for them. All of them. All right, you can go ahead and start now. We ready now. We
All
ready.
right. Let me blow this smoke out so I'm not choking. All right.
That soft ass cough,
All right.
that.
There we go. There we are. We getting this together. All right. Good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Sensual Snake broadcast. Emphasis on broad. I am your host, the Cuck Matchmaker. I have with me my co-host, my brother, Daddy Rack, and his beautiful partner in crime, Lady Anaconda. How are you two this evening?
Fabulous, fabulous.
What up, Rack?
What's popping? What's going on?
We're gonna talk about this shit real quick, kind of get into a few things.
Just a few things,
Just a few things.
just
Just a few
del-
things.
delve deeper into some ish than anybody likes to because they're all too insecure to have some real conversations.
So speaking of, you and I get inquiries all day long on all our different social mediums with cucks, betas, losers, incels, cuck boys, sissies, all of the above, hitting us up talking about a particular significant other woman that's in their life, imaginary or real, either or. But it's not an uncommon thing for those guys listed above to want to get their wives quote unquote converted. And what we mean by converted is, there's a notion out there that, you have to either convince or show your woman that there is benefits in having interpersonal relationships and interactions with black people. So that conversion, quote unquote, is a big hot button topic for non-white couples to either convince or persuade or, modulally push their partner toward a different experience. So what is your thought? What are your thoughts on that, Lady Anaconda and Rack, as far as what this conversion is, and then what are some base level activities and things they can do? Because we're going to actually talk about the word convince, because we want to dive into that word
Right.
too. When they use the word, hey, can you convince my wife? That type of thing. We want to dive into
Mhm.
that. Hopefully you do. But can you talk to us a little bit about that converting thing?
Yeah. I mean, it's like you also said too, like, that there's going to be guys that hit us up that they're pretending like there's a real girlfriend or wife in question. And for many of them, it's just a fantasy that they're talking about. There is no girlfriend. There is no wife. There's maybe a crush in their head, somebody that they're picturing when they're talking about, this conversation with you or I about wanting to convert her to,
In
be
quotes.
with black men, in some capacity, whether it's, just hooking up, going on full on dates, having a regular, boyfriend on the side, or, playing with black kings and black queens or just black queens, whatever. But, it,
Wait.
re-
Sorry to
go
interrupt,
ahead.
Lady Anaconda. I got a question.
Please.
All right. Because maybe we're skipping a step. Maybe the laymen and
Possibly.
people who are just now seeing, why would a loving husband want his wife, desire for his wife, fantasize about his wife being with a black man? What's so good about being with a black man? Like, why would they want to do that?
I definitely think there's a few different elements of this question that need to be explored. One thing is, black men are just better, above all, at everything.
Can you
Melanin is
say
king.
that? Can you say that on
Listen,
YouTube? Can you say that?
I already did. I'm not planning on this getting monetized. I got subs for that. I'm just out here to speak the truth.
All
Black men
right.
are better. Black men are better. Black men are better. And it's just getting more and more like mainstream to see like white guys, especially, but it's not just white guys. Literally any non-black I have. Asian subs, Indian subs, I've got subs all over the spectrum. I'm sure you do too. There's just
Yes.
something particularly potent in the white male brain here in the United States because it's so taboo, because of the history, that white males have just been fascinated and obsessed with and resentful of Black power for so long, like effortless Black excellence for so long. And they always feared that they pretended that they feared that Black men would take their women, but in the reality is that they were afraid that their women would naturally want to go be with Black men. So they did everything they could to try to keep them apart. And now they've completely like sexualized this betrayal, but they want to so desperately be in control of it. So that's when we deal with like these guys that want to present themselves as a cuckold, but as a chosen identity and this chosen lifestyle because they're trying to top from the bottom and they want to like let their wife be with a Black man in some way, but they're trying so hard to like be in control of it, and they find out a lot of times, at least different couples that I've talked to, wifey has already been with Black men either in the past or still to
Message,
that day.
message. Oh, I'm sorry. I meant to think that. I didn't mean to say that out loud. Go ahead.
Right. So that totally ties into like what you were saying about the whole idea of like convince. Nobody needs to be convinced. What we've said this before, you know, with different topics, different things have come up, but it's like these sub guys, these wannabe cuck guys, they just have to be trained and humbled and taught that it is them like being devoted and selfless enough and focused on the fact that she can and will do whatever she wants anyway, and she doesn't need you to convince her that Black men are better. She knows, but white males have a tendency of freaking out and being really impossible to deal with if they are like trying so desperately to be in control of something that they don't really have any control over. So I've noticed in my experiences, even just recently, I have like two new cucky guys. One's kind of like, you know, dying to be like a sissy cuck, whatever. But they have girlfriends, and I've gotten them both to go sexless, and now they're using like big Black toys on their girlfriends exclusively. One
Yes.
is like she locks him in chastity, and like this is like I'm conversing with the girlfriends too at this point, and like they're
Yes.
consensually sending me pictures and videos to like show that this is going on, and it's just like it's just funny to me because like these guys, whether it's a fantasy or whether they really do have a girlfriend or whatever in mind, they like to build up this idea that they're going to have to convince her, convert her, and convince her. And
Yeah.
that's like, that's barely even a real step, like most of the time. So I mean, there's girls that are sheltered for sure, and they need to like, be basically more so be like comfortable with the reality that that this cuck guy isn't going to turn on them more so than they need to be convinced or converted to admit that they desire Black men, which is why it's
so
kind of funny.
basically what you're saying is, and of course there's nuance and there's different situations, but when we're
Right.
talking about converting, it sounds like the majority of the quote unquote converting happens when you have both people that are in the relationship, the man and the woman, and you sit them both down, and it's more so what it sounds like is you're basically wanting the woman to know, hey, this cuck isn't going to go anywhere. Be you're in control, woman. And then
Mm,
to the cuck, it's like yeah, your woman is not gonna leave you, but B, you're not in control. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not in control.
Exactly.
Like once we set those ground rules, things usually seem to fall into place. A lot of them, like you said, they have this fantasy about, hey, uh, they want their woman to somehow be taken by black men or
Hmm.
black supremacy, but you know what I mean? Is this mental trick that they play in their head or whatever? It's like, oh well, hopefully he doesn't take my wife away from me, and it's just like that's a fantasy aspect of it. We can play
For
into
sure.
that, but we're really not into the business of breaking up families and all the other stuff. It's a good fantasy, it's a good role play, but we
Hmm.
got real world implications of people like breaking up, that type of thing. Like what we're wanting to foster is, hey, your woman wants to get slutted out the frame. Let's do it in a safe place. You want to be a cuck. You want to do all of this stuff or whatever. Well, how about you just foster a nice environment so where she knows that the security is there? Because this is just icing on the cake. So if you can make sure that she knows that you're going to be around, and vice versa, and the power dynamic is in place, well, yeah, you can have an awesome relationship. Rack, what you got on it, B?
Well, I was sitting here kind of listening to you guys. I I don't know what happened in the past or what it is that changed, but it just felt like the the black man and black woman were always sort of in control. Um, we talk about kings and queens and stuff like that, but it goes deeper than that because I don't know. It feels like they're supposed to be in control. Like, you ever feel yourself some days be like in this lifestyle and you're in a lifestyle moment with the male or female or whatever's going on. And you're like, you just feel like this is something that you've always been born to do, which is be in command and control, be strong, and guide the cuck to, what you want, and then guide the cuck's female friend or wife or whatever to what you want to do, almost as if it's something that was born in you. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if it's scientific or not, but it feels that
It
way. Do you
well,
feel that way?
to your point, it's like okay, the kings, like when I go to parties, like real world applications or whatever, right? Or even just not even at a party, you'll have guys that are just naturally inclined to be leaders, and then you'll see a couple. It's biology, bro. Like the cuck immediately drops his shoulders, like he's just like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
Just
yeah,
like a
I'm a baby,
warrior.
and here's my wife. Like I'm
Yeah, just
he like white dudes are different. Like they actually offer up their wives as I don't know, a lot of times like they'll come at us. The negative thing is they'll come at us to be like, hey, well, I want to offer my wife's holes. I want to, if they're a sissy, they want to offer their holes. But it's just like they really feel like since they're not enough, their wife's holes are enough. We educate them better,
Hmm.
but it's just interesting the phenomenon that they are so willing to offer their wife's holes that doesn't belong to them. Like that's somebody
Right.
else's body. Like it's just interesting how they do that.
Well, I mean, yeah, like you're saying about the sissies, like part of them is like mad that they are unwanted in that capacity, like
Yeah.
that, they're like jealous that they weren't born women. They're like so, because like white guys are so obsessed with black dick, especially that it's
like
just like they're like resentful.
I don't know if it's part of the programming or whatever that happened here in the United States, but you know how you feel when you're just like, no, I'm supposed to be in charge. And when you see how the queens are, like you've seen queens online that are like femdoms or findoms or dominatrixes, they're like, kneel, shut up, tell her to kneel too. Like you'll have the whole damn family kneeling. She'll have the whole family kneeling in front of her. I've seen it all as far as Twitter is concerned. This lifestyle thing is concerned. And I just think that it's a natural aspect of what we have or had in the past
Even just as
to keep away
entrepreneurs,
from
like
us.
even outside of like,
Yeah.
fetish lifestyles or, anything BDSM or, I just feel like what you're saying, I just see this confidence, this intelligence, this, follow through. It's so inspiring, and I just think that energy carries no matter what, a black man or woman, applies it to. But I'm also curious, Pharaoh Perfect, how often is it, at these parties, the events, how often is it that a wife or a woman will just approach you herself, and how often is it that her cuck or her husband or whatever is approaching you on her behalf?
Right. So I would say on a percentage base, I would say it's like 50-50 because
Ah.
if it's a party situation, women are empowered to initiate conversation,
Mhm,
uh, and be more forthright in exhibiting those context clues, those choosing signals. It's easier because pretty much people are all naked or half naked, and
mhm,
that's that. But it's like when there is a situation where the cuck is like it's just a cool situation I see for women because you can choose in a cuck situation you can choose to send your cuck as your envoy, as your herald, as your
mhm,
hey, my wife is interested in you type thing. Like he can be your mouthpiece type thing, kind of break the ice or whatever. And if he's a a versed king, he knows what that looks like. He knows that sometimes a cuck can walk up to you and be like, hey, my wife is interested in you. Or the wife can walk up to you. So it's really 50-50. And especially at these parties, because a lot of these guys are not proclaimed cucks, but they do a lot of cucky things. Like
mhm.
90% of their life is cucky. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like a lot
Yeah.
of times, like, they're doing everything short of fucking, cleaning up. But they ask some of these dudes actually clean up after. Like they're actually
Mhm.
eating the pussy after. And if you were to walk up to them and be like, hey man, you ever consider yourself to be a cuckold? They're like,
Oh no,
nah, nah,
nah,
nah,
I'm
hell
not
nah.
that. I'm
Nah,
very
I just like
humble.
eat my white pussy after she fucks with a black guy. Nah, but I'm not a cuck though. It's just like, oh, okay, well, whatever.
And
That's
that's
on you.
interesting, right? Like, so it's like so fascinating to me because I'm less often in those situations and much more in, you know, these one-on-one sessions that were set up ahead of time in terms of like talking about mindset and fantasy and I'm a cuck, I'm a cuck, or I want to be a cuck or whatever. Like, and it's just like I can't really wrap my head around what's going through these guys' heads that they're like, this isn't coming from a place of cuckold fetish to want to eat another man's come out of my wife. Like, you like, because to me, like, because one of the things I love, like, is talking about, the tasting defeat. Like, you're taste, you're just such an inferior beta male that you're tasting defeat in your wife's pussy. Like, like, so I'm so curious, like, what it is about it that they love, that they're like thinking about what's going on in their heads, if it's not this like demotion, this denial, this defeat, this I'm not good enough to actually serve his dick. And I'm also like not good enough to be inside her myself. I just get to taste him on her. Like it's just that's so like to me that's so inherently like cuck minded that I just like what else could it be? It's just very interesting to me. That's all.
Like
Fascinating.
even with the like reclamation sex that they like to have after.
Mm,
Yeah, let me
mhm.
let me have that. And it's like most of these guys, like I'll talk to a wife like soon as she gets home from a party. I'll be like, hey, you had sex with your husband after the party, right? Yeah, at home, huh? Yeah. Did you take a bath after? No. He just wanted me fresh out the party, smelling like sex, and it's just like,
Yeah.
I could never do that. Like if I had a woman that was into getting slutted out at the party, like, yeah, babe, you're gonna take a shower before we, you know what I'm saying? Before we do something when we get home, at least wash the juices off something.
That's
Like, did you at
interesting.
least pinch
Yeah.
the bitch? Like, can you wash a little bit? Like, them dudes be like, nah, I need all the juices fresh from the party.
Oh
I'm not a
boy.
cook though. I'm not a cook, but these are the activities that I'm into. Yeah, it's very interesting.
They want the hoe and the housewife together as one. That's definitely what the hot wife,
You gotta end
thing
up.
is.
You gotta end up going through a lot if you're gonna be like that. So
What, the
And
girl or
and
the guy?
the guy. I mean, the guy's gonna have to make an adjustment if he wants certain things.
Yeah, so yeah, Rex, so we could talk about that, right? So on a base level, a alpha and a beta have some things that are in common. Even like a stag and a cuck may have some things in common. What separates the two is application and the afterwards, and like, you know what I mean? There's nuance to it. So it's like for men, just men on a basic level, like me and Rack talk about this. Like Rack had to do some adjustment just to see you do your thing. You know what I mean? Just because dudes is, how we think about things. So
For sure. Of
in
course.
in
Yeah.
in order for hugs have to have a whole different. Like I said, it's similar, but they just totally like let go of certain male inclinations.
Well,
That's why
yeah,
we call
because
them betas.
the cuck thing is like that they're typically being denied versus like a stag or something else is like not being denied, whether it's their
Yeah.
wife or other play partners, right?
Yeah.
A
So
true alpha male or female, they're in charge, but they also understand when to take a step back and when to not be 100% in charge. Because if you think you're an alpha because you're 100% charge all the time, that's the path of destruction there, brother. That's not real alpha lifestyle.
You want to delve into that a little bit there?
I mean, Cyrus, you are not in charge 100% of the time of your life with any of your female components, are you?
nah, the control comes in, or the protection, the covering comes in when it's like you can go do whatever you want to and you come back. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
There's a loyalty is a very basic word, but it's like you know where home is, you know where the source is. This is where you get your real from. You know what I mean? Like I don't have to force her. I'm not tricking her, coercing her. No, it is she like what I got going on, and she's able to do whatever she want to do. She has autonomy. Autonomy. She's not no baby. She's not no infant. She do whatever she wants to do, but she know what's up. You know what I mean? She know where home is. So it's
Right.
not no gorilla ass bitch. What you doing? What you think about it? No,
Because
man. Like the controller is I let you do what you want, or I mean,
Because
or
you
you're
have
able to do what you want.
confidence in her
Yeah.
choice. You have confidence that she'll choose you. So yeah, I get
Yeah.
that.
every single one of these guys ain't that gorilla pimping with the Andrew Tate and
Yeah,
oh,
nah.
that bitch better know what time it is. She better be in the house when I do. And it
Yeah.
always ends the same story: cheating, lying, destruction of the relationship
Because
that you had,
Yep.
toxic fights, all that stuff.
all
Yep.
that's stemming from insecurity, like that need, like that holding too tight thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
And like Rack is saying, the results are never good. Like this is like even again, it's a building process. If somebody tries to dom like what we're talking about, thinking that's they saw it on TV, 50 Shades of Grey, some bullshit like that, thinking that it is this control of someone, or trying to control them with fear, and fear is very brittle. Once somebody realizes that they don't have to fear you, like that's your only form of control, like they hate you, and they destroy you after. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's like, nah, this is not that. This is, you're in a leadership position, but you're in a leadership position because they choose you to be in a leadership position, not because you took the choice away from them.
Right. Yeah.
That's
That
right.
also, it was something you said earlier, reminded me of just how many um elements of, our brands, our lifestyle, our existence, both offline, online, where there's the fantasy and the reality. And I just saw somebody talking about this on Twitter earlier, where these instadoms that come on, especially like, oh, I'm gonna get into findom and I'm gonna make a quick buck and this and that, blah blah blah, and they don't take any time to learn about BDSM. They don't take any time to learn about the rules that separate consensual play from abuse, and
Right.
that how essential that is to familiarize yourself with that, because otherwise, again, like you are at risk for, endangering yourself, endangering this other person,
Right.
not paying attention to consent, hurting yourself, hurting them, etc. Messing with somebody's head. There's a number of implications. So, and the example was that this one experienced dom was talking about how she was having some sort of discourse with one of her long-term subs, and just like having, kind of like chit-chatting with him, and it must have been on the timeline or something, and some, you know no experience, having just jumped on Twitter to just delve into the world without any, research or knowledge of what she's doing, made a comment and was like ragging on this dom about, like, oh, talking to a sub like that, and actually, like, giving them your time like that, like, that's not that's not doming, and that's not this, and that's not that. And
Yeah.
the woman is just like, are you crazy?
What?
Yeah,
What?
like, sure, there's pay pigs that if I just like put out some little, kind of like a bait tweet, some BS, like what, just being bratty or something, like that, they might just send some money, and, that's the extent of the interaction. There might even be subs that I learned that, for instance, like guys that want to be threatened with blackmail, like maybe you never actually do it, but they just want that fear, this, fantasy of this fear of like what, and that's what they get off. So you're just mean to them constantly all the time. But then there are subs that you build a real, like, rapport with, a real dynamic with.
Yeah.
And you're building that to have that control. You're building that to have that trust. And like for myself, so like, the whole fantasy versus reality thing, people think I'm very scary, and I can be. And they think that I'm very, like, that I'm just full on sadistic 24/7 because that's the fantasy that they want to have. And meanwhile, when I have, like, like I have a new fin sub, and he and I, sometimes I'm dominating him, sometimes I'm belittling him, sometimes I'm humiliating him, sometimes I'm letting him build trust with me just by, like, telling me about, some stresses about his day, or something at work, or like
Right.
whatever. And then just like, I'll let him get some of that out, and then I'll just like dominate him in some capacity. Like, or I'll just say something very sensual, or like, cause I know that like my voice is a trigger for him, or sending him a picture of my eyes is a trigger for him, or like I've learned his triggers, but that doesn't mean that we don't kind of flow in and out of, like,
Right.
say, role play. But it's like barely role play, because I am just like being myself in a lot of ways, but like, the role play versus just being a little more personable. And it's just like these guys that don't really understand, or don't even have the budget or the mental capacity to even commit to something like that, something that real, something that really requires some true devotion, some true sacrifice. Like, they can't even think beyond the little shallow fantasy that they have, that, like, they're the dom that they're dreaming about is just running around town in latex, whipping people,
25/8.
25/8, like, just
Right.
snatching wallets and whipping their asses and running
Catching
away, and
live.
like
All that.
spitting in their face, and like, just like, at the end of the day, this shit has to be consensual. And it's like, it's really crazy what some people really like. I have seen dudes online, like, move out of their apartment into a cheaper apartment because they're getting financially dominated, like, to a real wild extent. And that's like, consensually happened. Like, that's, they're
Yeah.
still in it. Like, they haven't even walked away yet. Like, they're still, you know what I mean? So, these are the real life implications. But, it's just so interesting, like you were talking about earlier with certain role play, like that. Okay, the cream pie thing is basically like this. When biologically you get a cream pie, and a woman orgasms, you are most likely to have a child, right?
Right.
So, like,
Right.
that's that whole taboo thing of like, this black man is going to impregnate my wife, but that's not actually happening very often, because we're playing, like, it's, you're
Yeah.
not actually, you're typically not just like a hot wife going around getting pregnant by all of your, you know all the men that you play with, like, but it's like that fantasy that plays into it. So like again, there's like the cream pie is very real, but she might be pretending like, oh, breed me, but she's on birth control and she's taking that religiously every day. But you don't
Yeah.
talk about that while you're playing in the room because
No,
that's
no,
not
it's
part of
just
the fantasy. So it's like, the things like that, the real thing and the fantasy thing and the thing that kind of goes unsaid because, we're playing out a fantasy here, even though, we do have to be
well,
careful because there can be very real life implications to what we're doing.
speaking of, so now, and that is why we talk about real world things, and we make analogies between what we do, that type of thing. So now, we talked about it a few weeks ago. Tennessee is passing this mandatory paternity test. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Upon signing the birth certificate, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Now, and speaking with the breeding kink and that type of thing. Now, on our side, we don't have that problem because, if your chick sleeps with a black guy, we already know who the pappy is. I'm the pappy, like we know who the pappy is. So, but on the other side, on the vanilla side, like these people are really, because paternity fraud is like a real big thing, and we talk about the history of cuckolding, and it was even in the House of the Dragon, that type of thing. Your wife is cuckolding you. What they meant by it was you're having a baby for
Mhm.
someone, and you're actively taking care of the child, the father or
Right.
whatever, and you know that
Right.
that's not your kid. That was their definition. We've added some things to it on some 2024 shit. It is what it is,
Mhm.
but it's just very interesting how people are having issues with not being truthful about who the father is, whereas on our side we're like we know who the father is because a lot of people want to be bred and talking about that kink or whatever. So like,
Right.
how do you juxtapose those things?
Yeah. It's like what Rack said, right? Like that all that toxic stuff comes out of uh the lying and the cheating and the sneaking around. Like it's not, but
Like
people want to, judge these lifestyles that are non-monogamous, and meanwhile there's a lot more consent going on over here. So
like
go ahead, Rack. Sorry.
what your boy ASAP Yim say? He said the girls belong to the soil, baby. like like they don't belong to anyone. No woman belongs to anyone.
Yeah.
You know, and no man, belongs to another man. You know, a
Or
woman
woman,
and a
like
man
nobody
can,
belongs to you. Have no control over
anyone.
anybody. Everybody's supposed to make their own choices.
And
And
a
if they
man and
choose
a
you, that's
woman,
great.
if
But
they choose man and a woman, or a woman and a woman, it doesn't matter. It's 2023. If they choose to be owned by each other, loved by each other, that's up to them. And if you try to do that whole force thing, I promise you, it's gonna come out funky on the other end. Something gonna happen, And if you try to go too soft too, and you don't put her in check, put the guy in check, tell him to respect your boundaries. If you go
Yep.
too soft too, that ends up backfiring too. So
You have to have balance. It has to be
yeah,
balanced.
it must be balanced.
there's another there's this couple actually that a friend of mine is trying to work with because he was contacted by them in New York. It's an Indian couple in New York, and I guess they're like first generation immigrants. So the wife feels very like reliant on the husband. She's not working because they had kids, and he for the last few years, I guess, has been trying to push her to cuckold him.
Okay.
But he's not. He's trying to be the one to choose the guy to like. He's
Top
trying
or
to
the
run the
bottom.
whole. He's trying to run the whole thing, and she is very turned off by it. So this is like the quintessential. You don't do it. You have to let her lead, and that's like anybody that knows anything about this lifestyle is going to tell you that. So like anybody watching that, like is got that cuckold fantasy in your heads, like it's not what you want it to be, if you're not going to accept that reality, that like it's not going to work out for you if you don't understand that you cannot manipulate and push and it's just going to blow up in your face, because she's like so not about it. And it's really sad too, because like on one hand, this guy could be a total POS, and like who knows if he's abusive, or like what's going on there. Like I'm not going to pretend like I have any idea what's really going on there, but like she is against the whole thing because of how he's pressuring her to do
Right.
it like his way, versus him just putting a seed out there. Hey, I feel like I'm holding you back, or that you deserve to like experience more from life than just I can give you. I want you to know how much I love you, how much I respect you, how much I don't want to be the reason why you don't explore, different desires or fantasies or people or situations or whatever. Like I got your back 100%. In fact, kind of turns me on to think of you, in that power position. I'd love to watch, or I'd love to facilitate it. I'd love to. If you do not come with that energy of like, it's you first, beautiful woman, beautiful goddess that I have any, privilege whatsoever being connected with, like it is not going to be fun for anybody. She's either going to just shut it down altogether, be totally uncomfortable, or she's going to shut it down altogether and then just go cheat on you. So like, just do not, do not do it. I cannot say it enough.
No.
Just do not do it.
Oh.
I do, like I said, I like when these guys that I talk to, like when I get them to like ease their girlfriend into getting comfortable with being, a little bit dominant and bossy with them, because like women are we're just so used to, especially white guys, like, but just not black men, like just their egos being so freaking fragile that we just like, not me, but a lot of these women just avoid certain conversations because they're just convinced that the guy's gonna not be able to handle it, fly off the handle, be impossible to deal with. So like that's really the only thing y'all need to communicate, is that you've accepted that this is who you are, that you want to be this cuckold, because you keep coming back to it, and it's just
It's
that's
been
all it takes.
situations. It's been situations that and there's a certain convention that you and I, all three of us, have attended. There'll be situations to where husbands spend however much it is, plus travel, daycare, dog grooming, all that good stuff or whatever, just to come to this convention, and their wives are not with it for whatever reason, and you spent
Mm,
all this money, so there's some expectation when you didn't set the groundwork before, or even it's just and then they're envious of other women. They see you, they're like, hey, I want my wife to be like that, and it's just like she's gonna do it her way. You know what I mean?
right.
And you can't make her do it another way. Of course, like again, fostering a good environment so that she feels safe to be herself. That's about all
Mhm.
you can do. That's
And
about
she
it.
might not want you around for the first however many times.
Right. She needs to
Like
feel. She needs to make it her own.
if this is like your wife, especially like, the girlfriend thing, fine. You guys could break up next week, whatever. I don't know what type of devotion's going on there, but like your wife, you guys have committed to each other, and now you're like trying to support her in this new journey. Like at least in the beginning, you need to be humble and realize that if you really want this as a lifestyle, you are like long term with real potential to grow and everything like that, you have to be okay with the fact she might not want you around while she's exploring herself in this at first. And that's where we deal with that top from the bottom thing of like, well, no, I have to be there. And that's like, we've joked about this before. Have we brought this up on the show, that that whole oh god, I can't think of what the series was. It was Obsession. What was it called? The series with Kendra on Blacked, and it was
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that whole
yeah.
funny thing where it was like
It was
her.
like
It was like her
Obsession
real
or something.
life.
Yeah.
It was like her real
Right.
life boyfriend, and like, but like it was like a series of like the development of
That
her
was funny.
boyfriend as this cuckold. And the very first, I don't know if you ever watched these, Pharaoh, but you would enjoy the storyline, because the very first one was showing like me and my white boyfriend like have a great sex life, and we're very happy, and he loves me so much, and everything's so great. And then he started getting off to the idea of like, I think it's first they were watching porn together, and then he was like talking about how he has fantasies about her being with somebody else. And she was like at a photo shoot, and he was like the dude he was the photographer for the photo shoot, and it was just like a fashion photo shoot with her and the
Yeah.
sexy black king. And then the cuckold boyfriend like leaves, and as he's like leaving, he's outside the window, and he like texts her a picture of her sitting next to the handsome black man, and she like takes that as a cue of like, oh, he wants to watch me, whatever. But by the either second or third video, she was like talking about how one of his rules was that he has to be there to watch. Like that's the only
Yeah.
way she's allowed to
Oh
do this.
shit.
And
Oh
she's
shit.
like at a photo shoot with like two sexy black men, and she's just like, he wasn't going to be able to be here, but that shouldn't mean that I can't have fun that I deserve to have. So
Yeah.
I called him, and I let him know I was going to do what I wanted to do anyway, and you're not going to tell me I can't do it, but you're lucky that I'll leave you on speakerphone. And it was just like, this evolution of her, like, on one hand being led by him to do it as he likes and as he wants and
Guided,
all of
then
it.
cocked.
And then
Guided,
her
then
being
cocked
like,
at the end.
she was like, wait a second, this is my body, this is my experience, and you're the one who opened this door, and I should be able to explore it and figure out, what I like about it, and what, how it fits in for me, so it's just,
I mean,
funny.
obviously,
Great.
there's different types of cuckolding, and we have a excuse me, we have a chart. We have all these different diagrams and drawings of the different types of cuckolding, and definitely, you know, we talked about the cuck chair last week or whatever, but cucks should understand that if you're truly about her pleasure, again, sometimes maybe even initially, maybe even all the time, you might not be invited to that situation. Maybe it's a prize for you to actually be in the cuck position and participate. Because again, another form of cuckolding is you not being in the room. They go on a vacation. They go
Right.
somewhere else. You know what I mean? You're out of town for a week. She has her black man friend there while you're gone. Like there's all kind of
Right.
scenarios, but you know, if you're wanting to see this woman blossom and be this, you know, picture in your head that you want her to be in her own way, well, you have to let that grow. Like you said, Lady Anaconda, you plant the seed. Like when you plant a seed anywhere, your job is just to cultivate it, give it the sunshine, give it the nutrients, give it the space to grow, and let it do what it do. But you trying to curate it and that, and then once let's say you do provide all that control to the situation, you're not going to get the situation and the outcome that you want because that's not what you wanted to begin with. You really want to relinquish control to your woman so that she can find her way in this thing, and you just be the cuck that you're destined to be. You know what I mean?
Yep. And let's be realistic, like these black kings that she's getting to serve, like they're not looking to wife her up. So like, what's your
Ah,
We
fear
don't want you,
really?
bitch. We don't want you, bitch.
What is your fear really? Like,
We are
come
not going to
come
steal your
on.
wife. I promise.
trust me.
We don't
Trust
want
me.
those problems. We don't.
No, you keep those issues at
You
home.
keep all that. And that's the other
God.
thing. Like the thing about this lifestyle is, and you see it all kind of fuck up in the vanilla world. People may have an arrangement. You're married, but then you have an outside situation, and then the outside situation wants to grab feelings, and it's just like, no, then it goes awry. Whereas in a lifestyle, if you're married, we hope, right? We're gonna say hope.
Mhm.
In best case scenarios, you have this outside situation. Everybody knows their dynamic. Everybody knows their boundaries, and it just kind of goes like that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
That's the only difference between vanilla and what we do. It's just communication, boundaries,
Yeah.
and relationship dynamics explored. That's the only difference because it's going to happen. People are going to do shit. Like we
Right.
say it all the time. You're not everything for one person. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Some people do have that type of situation, but like what you look like, not letting your partner do things like, and then you say you love them. You know what I mean? But you're not letting them explore things.
Yeah.
You know?
And like plenty of people in the lifestyle will tell you that they might go for a few years really heavy, in parties and hooking up, having side pieces, playing together, playing separately, all this. And then they might take a break for a few years.
Yep.
It's just
Yep.
the two of them in their marriage, like living life, whatever,
Yep.
and that's the point, like what you're saying about like if home is home, then nothing changes that. So it doesn't mean that, oh, because we opened this door and we're really having fun, that one or both partners can't be like, I need a little break, or oh, I want to try something
Yeah.
else, or
Yeah.
whatever. That's the whole
Always.
point, is that it's supposed to be an ongoing journey and an ongoing conversation. So
Yep.
that's a beautiful thing. And I just was thinking about something because one of the topics we were talking about that we would talk about a little bit, kind of two things, I guess I'm going to ask at the same time. One is anytime I see debates about, and obviously we've talked about the ethical race play of BNWO and the fact that at the end of the day, just not enough people know about that community, and we've discussed that itself is an issue, and that that needs to be kind of just pushed in general. But anytime I see somebody trying to have a discussion about race play as a general concept, especially on Twitter, it's just always like this negative thing. Like the only thing people like really will talk about is like something not even just objectifying, I mean obviously, but also just like degrading. And it's always like somebody says race play and it seems like the first thing that they think of is consensual degrading interactions, circling around degrading a minority. Because they, on this thread that I was looking at, they were talking about an instance at a party where the husband was being really degrading toward his Asian female partner. So like not even just against Black people, but just like against minorities in general, and just like how it seems like people can't even wrap their head around the idea that at Serve BNWO in like a space like that, it's places where you operate, that we operate out of, that it's actually, when we think of race play, it's degrading and humiliating white males and glorifying Black supremacy and Black excellence and Black power. And like, I just think that it's so interesting. This, like, the question I wanted to ask the two of you, why it is that, like, anytime any of my videos get popular, go viral, etc., like if I use the term Black King or Black Queen, that seems to be such a turnoff to Black people, like both in and out of the world of content creation or fetish play, or
Don't say so many.
content
Just a
creation.
very loud, selective few that are the
I
ones
don't
that bring
mean,
it up.
yeah, I
Yeah,
wouldn't say so
because
many.
it's not everybody. Yeah.
I would say that you're right. I guess more what I meant is every time one of my videos goes semi-viral or full viral, like I see those comments. Like one guy, when he did like a quote retweet of my video or something, and he put the meme with the guy taking his headphones off, and he's like, as soon as she said Black King, I was like, taking the headphones off, like, stop listening. And I would just, for there to be so much negative energy toward race play and comment, terms like bull, being like, not liking those terms and not liking, the idea of race play. But then when somebody's trying to elevate Black people instead, like it still comes off wrong. So I don't know, if
Right.
either of you have thoughts on that,
All
I
right.
would love to hear them.
So I'll say, because there are so many grifters, we speak about them all the time. We know that the easiest way to get a bag is to talk about Black men either positively or negatively, or basically objectify
Okay.
them. So
Okay.
there are very few examples of non-Black women speaking up for what we're doing, to the point there's race play is so thought of that it should only go one way. Both of those things are true at the same time. That when you speak, people like you speak, some Black people are like, oh, no, but they don't know, because there's been a lot of people prior to you. Maybe they hadn't spoken like you or whatever the fuck, but they don't know yet. Like, if they look you up, if they actually do their due diligence or whatever, they'll know that you down for the cause. You D4L. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's that. But then with the race play thing, it's a situation to where, like, if you've never been called a N-word, hard ER or whatever, okay, that's whatever. But you've been treated like one all your life. You know what I'm saying? Like, so this is a situation, and this is just consensually. You were called the N-word without your consent. Some people, like you saying, be doing like sexual things without consent, with race implications in it, without consent. Over here, we're like, you're in charge, Black person, so you can dish shit out as opposed to taking it. And that is such a new concept. It's just something for them to get used to. And they go get used to it. They go get used to seeing Black people in power positions. They just, I don't know what to tell you. You know what I mean? It just is what it is. That's what's on the forefront. Go ahead, right?
I mean, there's a lot of like Black male and female betas that have been created by the white patriarchy. They're betas. Like, they take a step back when it should be taking a step forward. And when you say things like, you're a king and you should stick your chest out and you should speak on the behalf of other Black people, it's like, I am a king also, or a prince if you're very young, and I represent Black culture and I care about my Black culture and I don't want anybody to step on it. Right. And white people have absolutely no problem saying that type of stuff, or being in that lane, I guess you can say.
Yeah.
Because they're good at a specific thing in their lives, or big time, or they have a bunch of money in certain things in their lives. But like, when it comes to Black people, it is hard for us to toot our horn. You see how many Black people got mad when LeBron called himself King James.
Yeah.
See how many people got mad? They were Black. They weren't
what
white.
What the fuck you would think highly of yourself? How dare you think highly of yourself? Like what? Are you fucking serious? But look, bro, and let me say this before I fucking forget. When Lady Anaconda did that AVN thing and she interviewed that Black dude, like, I wanted to throw up in my fucking mouth. I'm like,
I got really upset at him.
You imbecile.
At him instead of her. Yeah.
How dare you? And again, you just said it, right? Like, a lot of people have been, you try not to blame them for this or whatever, but like, I'm resilient. I would never be beat down by the system and not think highly of myself. Like, for me, it's like, obviously I'm the shit if I'm the target. Like, I am the target. Like, I know that I'm a Black heterosexual Black man. Like, they is getting at my ass. They don't want me. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, why not think highly of yourself? Like, but it just shows the mentality. Like me and Rack is just like, no, we the shit. And I'm going to go out standing up as opposed to on my fucking knees. Whereas these other dudes is going to capitulate, like, no, yeah, I'm not a king. No, yeah, I'm a baby boy. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead
and keep my head down.
Fuck you. No, we ain't doing none of that shit over here. Fuck you.
No, I like I said about King James, and I just saw Coach Prime, he's talking to people in the media and stuff, Deion Sanders, and, he's a king. He acts like a king.
Yeah.
All right? He acts like he's in charge. He doesn't pretend to be in charge. All right? He knows he's in charge. He's thinking 5 steps ahead. He has his own warriors, his own castle. You know what I'm saying? He's serious.
And look, speaking about that beta thing, speaking about that beta mentality, this man is succeeding. He was 2-0 before he played Colorado State. You got another Black man.
Black coach. He's a Black coach.
A Black coach
Colorado
that has been
State.
beaten. Like, so here was his plan, or here was what the game plan was given to him. You keep your head down, Black man. You don't make no waves, black man. You
No
be
glasses, no
kind of,
hats.
I'm saying, lower your head, speak a certain way when don't speak too loudly, and you'll succeed. Deion
I mean,
Sanders is like, no, I'm gonna be myself. You'll know who the fuck I am. I'm gonna lead with my accomplishments, and I'm gonna show my flavor, and I'm still gonna fucking succeed. And to coach, I think what's his last name? Is it Vogel? What's his last name?
I think so. Let me take a look real quick here. Colorado
Ch-
State's
give me his.
Colorado.
But yeah, he's outdone. He's fucked up.
It's Norvell. Jay
Norvell,
Norvell.
excuse me,
Yeah,
Norvell.
yeah, yeah.
He's
Look,
outdone because he was told to follow a certain playbook and it didn't work out for him. You know what I'm
like,
saying?
look. I understand what he is because I watched a whole preview about him a couple weeks ago. They were talking to him about stuff. Oh, a week ago, I mean, and I was watching, and he was wearing a shirt that looked like a gasoline alley, he was working in a gas station. He said he
Yeah.
was wearing that shirt every day in the offices, and that everyone else is wearing the offices to show that they were blue collar, that they come to work, that they come, all that. And I like the attitude. I'm glad he's tough and all that stuff, but that's not what we need anymore. Forget that blue collar nonsense bullshit. Who cares? He was pushing that agenda, like, oh, I'm a real worker. I put my time in 50 hours a week. No, you don't need to put in 50 hours a week. You need to be in charge of your domain, black man. What's wrong with you? You're a coach. You're not supposed to be a worker.
That capitulation, and we talk about that even in the lifestyle, that there are certain people who are quote unquote icons in the lifestyle. I ain't gonna say no names, but their whole stick is they're going to accommodate, not stick out, show no personality, and kind of let the white betas kind of run the show. And it's just like, I can't rock like that. I can't be this monkey in a suit and let them dictate terms. Those days are over. And like I'm saying, bro, like to answer your question again, it's just a new day. It's just something for people to get used to. Black men and women being like, no, I do me.
Nope.
I have flavor. I love myself. You're gonna respect me above, like, minimally. I don't care if you love me, but you're gonna respect me first. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you don't even gotta like me, but you're gonna respect me first. And
Well,
that's just a
everyone's obsessed.
concept.
They're
Yeah.
obsessed with black people and black talent and black expression and black culture of all kinds. Like, so it is fascinating to me, and it's disappointing that there are people that are still afraid to, like you're saying, to rock the boat and just be like, no, you're obsessed with me no matter what. You're obsessed with everything about me, so why would I let you hold me back? So.
I hate I didn't even have to dig in all this because let's save it for another show. But I just saw today that because of that game, it was the most watched football game ever in the history of college football.
Yeah.
Wow.
Even higher watched than Ohio State and Miami, which was one of the greatest college football games I've ever seen. It was double that.
Wow.
It was double that. So it's just
Black excellence, baby.
that's
So here's the thing about football, bro,
that.
and you know that. So the thing about football is, which is totally opposite of basketball. You can't see my face in football except for when I go to the fucking sideline and take my helmet off.
Yeah, that's right. And
So
that's Prime. Prime taught that.
Right. So Prime was like at a very early we talking about early 80s, because this man is playing basketball, playing baseball too. All right. Deion
20
is
years old.
He's a like super black man. This man was like, anyway, so in baseball and basketball, you see my face. In football, I kill myself more. I could possibly die on the field, but you never see my face. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, you know what? I'm going to be marketable. I'm going to fucking high step when I fucking pick six your dumb ass. I'm going to, like, no, you're going to see me. You're going to know what the number 21 means. And because of that, and again, what they told other black men, they probably even told Deion that shit, but he was resilient. They was like, hey, when you in this thing, you're privileged to be in the NFL. You're privileged to score. If you score a touchdown, just hand the referee the ball and kind of go Barry Sanders ass shit. Just give him the ball and just, and I can't fault people for doing that, for following that shit. That's what you chose to do. But there's other people like Dion, like us, that's just like, no, you gonna know who the fuck and when I score, you gonna know who the fuck I am. You know what I mean? And that's because like fading away to blackness or just being a fucking number, that don't get you nowhere. Just going to work, being a blue collar worker, just being a fucking company man, you're just a number. You're just, oh, fuck that. Stick out. Be yourself.
Be yourself. Push.
Must be the money.
Show your blackness. Yeah.
Great shit ever.
Oh, I showed Lady A the video.
Must be the money. Oh my, bro,
Must be the money. If you really got it all. Let's be the money. Must be the money.
When I first saw that video, I remember I'm like, wait, you play football, you play baseball, and you doing the music,
right?
And you're an all-star at both. What?
Balling, not just no mediocre baseball player. Yeah. I did a home run and then went to the NFL and scored a fucking kickoff return, all in the same day, all within 24 hours. I'm Deion Sanders. What the fuck you mean I'm finna sit down and just kind of be quiet? No, I'm awesome. And I want you to know
I'm lucky. Awesome. Yeah.
The hardest play in sports. There's two plays. The hardest play in sports. One, do a punt return on 11 grown-ass men on a field.
That is
not touch you and you
murder
get
you. That are trying to murder you.
Two, hitting a 90-mile-per-hour fastball on the outside and hitting a home run. Those are two of the hardest things to do in all of sports. There is the third thing is hitting a hole-in-one on a golf. So it's just the guy's amazing, but more importantly, the financial gains that come from Black Kings and Black Queens sticking their chest out, keeping their chin up, and talking to media, television, whatever, or just day to day will increase and help the value of their life by 1,000-fold. All right. And I just think that Black people need to do more of that. They need to just keep their chin up. Just talk to them. Hey,
and look
I'm
at the
in charge here.
Look at the ramifications. Since Dion was such a success, he did his thing, and now he's a coach making, millions, that type of thing, on top of what he already did prior to. Now he can tell his sons, hey, ain't no rush to go to NFL. Ain't no rush. We good. We got money. You can wait a year, get good as you want to, and then have them come to you as opposed to you go to them and get a fucked up deal, a fucked up situation. That's what the generational wealth, like that's what we're talking about in this situation. Like
we never had this.
No, it's
we've had the last 20 years. This is what Black people never had this in the United States. The passing down in large amounts of financial and mental wealth, not just financial.
I mean, look at Lonzo Ball and that whole situation. Like, they tried to ostracize the man because he's an integral role in his son's lives. Like
he's pulling a Trump.
That's vocal. Hey, no, I'm a Black man and I do shit. I fuck with my sons. My sons fuck with me. And that was a problem. They had to get that man. No more interviews. No, fuck that. Let's get him off. And it's just like,
he still came back. He's still on wrestling every once in a while.
Come on, bro. Lady Anaconda even talked about it. Like it's such a agenda to put beta males as heroes and as the main guys, because it's so scary to have a straight Black man running this rap shit. We don't even want to see pictures of that shit. You know what I mean? Like, no.
Like movies, music, oh my god, it's just like you're saying, like they want to revere Black talent and Black bodies and black everything, but control it, right? Like,
yeah,
like you're saying, like feel lucky, feel grateful, feel privileged, but don't feel empowered. Don't feel like, oh wait, I really can do whatever I want. Oh wait, you need me more than I need you. That's the last thing they want. And, like, they just, I swear, anytime I watch a movie on Netflix and there's finally like, I think I can name. I can't think of the name of the freaking movie, but there was just some random movie I watched, and the girl's father had some guy like imprisoned on his property or whatever, but just some random white girl. But her husband was a handsome, successful black man, and they had a beautiful baby together. And it was just, a basic element of the movie in terms of just like, who she was in her life and everything, and then she's getting pulled into all this drama. But I was just like, I shouldn't be watching this movie and like, oh, finally, like a beautiful interracial couple, like, oh, a black man that's allowed to be like attractive and her love interest, and he's successful too. It's like it should not be rare. And I'm just so like, it's so boring. Like, Rocco come in the room and I'm like, I'm trying to watch something, but the last couple things I've tried to start, the protagonist male is like this white Twinkie looking dude, and I'm just like, okay, can we at the very least?
And the black guy dies.
And the black guy dies.
First.
And the black guy dies.
First.
It's like,
even if it's
oh
a little
my
like,
God.
even if it's a movie like about this guy, it's a group of guys playing football in high school and we're having fun. Black guy dies. He dies of some sort of wreck, or a vampire kills him or some shit.
Like
yeah, that's right. Vampire Diaries has some real misogynoir. Like, it's got some real issues that we could do a whole show about. That shit is just. But yeah,
always
go
happens,
on.
bro.
Go ahead, Pharaoh. I'm sorry.
It's just amazing the links that they go through. Even so now at this point, when I watch any of these shows, wherever they got because I can't if I can't even watch them if I don't do this. If I don't imagine the main guy as some masculine black dude, I wouldn't be able to watch no TV, no nothing, because it's like they go out of their way to push this narrative, and it's just like I can't get jiggy with that shit. Like none of that shit. And it's like if I really chose to go that way, I couldn't watch nothing. Like zero. Like nothing I could watch.
And it's like you just wish that they would at least be like a little more based in realism with it. And it's like, all right, if you want this white Twinkie, cucky beta guy as your heartthrob and you're this and that, can you at least make it clear it's because it's an FLR and she is like interested in him because she's like, oh, it's kind of like having a girlfriend at the same time. Like, this is great. I wear the pants in this dynamic, and that's what I'm looking for. Like, can we at least be a little bit true to life with that and like paint it as it is instead of acting like, what, he's gonna protect you and like support your independence and your empower you, and it's like, stop it. Just, he ain't turning you out. He ain't, is it? I could think of a number of Beyonce lines in which it would not apply. Just like, surfboarding or nothing on that thing. So
that stuff they was talking about with Kendall, Kendall, where they're just
Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah, they're like, she's not really dating that little white boy.
Come on, bro. Like she just letting the pussy heal. That's all, bro. Like let me get back right, cause buddy she just trying not to whistle when she walk no more. That's what she trying to do. She trying not to whistle when she want to get into a
also, listen, women do run away.
And the man
they run away. She's a billionaire.
And the man knows his place.
She finally wants to be in a situation where she could tell a white boy to do whatever. Lick my toe, white boy, and she'll do it. Buddy wasn't doing it.
Listen, bitch. She told Book, said, hey, you need to move from Phoenix because they whack anyways. You need to da-da-da. It's like, shut up,
Bitch, what?
Get out of here. Let me call somebody else up in here. Like, he's Book. He's number one guy right now in the NBA. So he don't, what I mean? And it's tough because here she is. She's a supermodel. She actually is a supermodel. And black guys are so, when they're younger, man, we're in that king mode, man. Money, got stuff going on. We're like, listen, if you're not going to be not only my queen, but know your place, On
Mhm.
to the next, on to the
Yeah.
next. She didn't like that. She didn't
Yep.
like that.
Yep.
I mean, so listen, and again, those are, you know, it's character things and it's things that we can. But it's like, okay, if you can get into a situation with a person, you establish these dynamics, these boundaries, that type of thing, where, because again, like she wants an alpha. Most women want an alpha. Most women do. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
like but you also want a beta that you can fucking run.
Mhm.
You
Right.
probably
Know your
want
place.
both.
Know your place. Look at
They
Tom
probably
Holland.
both. So it's like, okay, how does she communicate that to a vanilla partner, because her ass is vanilla too? Like, how does she express that those are her needs, and B, find somebody who's just like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna do my part, and you want beta boys around you, you can do that too. Like, how do you find that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a
Because most
search.
women they want an alpha in their life, like real bad, but they don't. But they like want so badly to not like be out of control all the time. And if you've just got this confident, like empowered, you know, masculine, comfortable with himself, and knows that like you can't tell him shit. Like it's just, not everybody's cut out to be, partners with somebody like that 24/7, because they just know that they're not going to be able to argue with him, because he's going to beat it out the frame and leave you like so
Look.
satisfied that you're just floating on nine, and you're like, "You want me to bake you muffins? Like what's
Oh
good?"
my
Like,
god. They hate that feeling too. They're like, why am I baking muffins right now? You know what?
like
This isn't
it's
gonna
like
work.
they love to hate. I think it was that same stupid freaking comedian I was watching. She's talking about how she's with a black man, and she's like, I didn't expect to be a nurturer. I didn't expect to get so much joy out of doing his laundry, but here we are. And
You see what happens.
she's
Listen,
like, I love it.
you can just go through all those big time names, the Katy Perry, the Miley Cyrus. You hear all these rumors, you're like, well, aren't they with black guys? But see, they can't stay with the black guy because they're alpha dogs. They have some of the highest record sales in the history of music. They don't want some guy coming in and cracking their neck over a table telling them, no, you need to do this. They don't want that. So they temporarily dive in instead. And there's nothing wrong with that because every woman and man deserves to have what they want.
I mean,
I
is
don't,
there like,
I don't know
look at
about
how beautiful it would be to have like a black king and a black queen, and they like have this little subby, snow bunny girlfriend who does whatever they want, and they also have her husband, this white little cucky who's like literally a servant. Like that's that's just beautiful. I think that's a beautiful dynamic. I don't see anything wrong with that. I feel like it's very natural. I think it's beautiful.
Well, they do that all the time. So
that.
they be
I
doing
mean,
that all the time.
when people are honest with themselves first, and then they're honest with their partners, we have better situations. But that realization of what you just talked about, that women want to have a situation where they are being controlled, and then where they can control, a lot of people can't cop to that.
Yeah.
A lot, societal norms or whatever the fuck, whatever those inhibitors are that keep you from exploring that when there's a need for it, and some more than others. Again, we talk about it all the time. There's levels to it. Everybody is a lady anaconda. Everybody isn't sadistic like that. Everybody that, what I'm saying, even though you're not that, me and you, all three of us know that, but it's like, the image of you is, that you're one way, but it's like, it's levels to this shit. It really,
Yeah.
really is. It really like
I
explodes.
mean,
So,
and I'm switch life, baby. Like I'm assuming we've talked about it, but I was a financial submissive. Like, I mean, I still am in some capacity, but like I'm owned and collared, and
right.
partners with my king, with Daddy
Yeah.
Rock. So it's a whole different dynamic now. But like I've talked about it before. I was in college. Good God alive, was I a little slutty fin sub? Like
Oh my God. That's an awesome combination.
I had a Black King master that he wouldn't even give me the dick because he told me I was a white girl and I wasn't deserving of it, but I could like pay for shit and this and that, and he would just like hold me up against a wall, my arms up, like press himself against me and be like, "You never getting this dick, but you're gonna buy me dinner anyway." And I was like, "Yes, Daddy, I am. I am going to do that."
I fucking love it. Want some more of it? That's fucking awesome. And like so like, and just speaking to the point, like so many guys and they don't even know that exists. So many queens don't even know that exists. Like, if y'all see this broadcast, like, know that you can be the hammer as opposed to being the nail. And in a sensual situation, like, there are gobs of people that want to serve you just because you're awesome and you're Black. Like, please know that. If you see this broadcast, that's the gist of it. Like, please know that people want to fucking worship you.
That's the main takeaway of this broadcast. Please understand.
Please no. Please no.
Yes,
What
sir.
else you got?
I mean, that's all I got right now, man. I think we covered mostly everything. You know, I love that we get to come together and talk about this stuff every weekend, and I just hope that we can start doing more stuff like this because I really like these podcasts. I wanted to say shout out to Nick Taylor in the chat. Shout out to Tara. She's
Tara,
in
baby.
here earlier. Yeah. And then shout out to Princess Cass. Cass was in here earlier.
Oh.
What up, Cass?
Cass disappeared. She said she had to go work tomorrow.
Yeah, she be working early.
She be working. She be out in the streets and in the heat. She be really getting
I guess some of my chastity keys here. I don't know why they're here. I must have brought them out for some reason.
She plans on locking somebody up. All right, so you can go ahead and close this out, Cervix, and let's keep it rocking.
Well, I was gonna ask you to do your closing spiel, G.
Oh, okay. Houseofanaconda.com, ladyanaconda.com. Follow those two things.
Follow those two things. Listen, it's the Elite QOS movement. We are out here. The House of Anaconda, of course, is just like empowering all beautiful women. It just so happens that the most devoted and successful and empowered and beautiful women that rock with us just tend to be QOS. But, technically, we support all women in their personal choices. Just so happens that, QOS is the best lifestyle out there. And a lot of people think the House of Anaconda is basically the House of QOS, and it's hard to argue with that. So, it is what it is. But I'm Lady Anaconda. It's the Elite QOS movement. Like Daddy Rack said, ladyanaconda.com. All my resources, my stuff, my stores. Donate directly to Black organizations from there because that's the Elite QOS movement, baby. I got subs. What is my new sub? He like donates like 9% or 10% of his earnings like directly out to Black organizations. ACLU is one of them. I think there's a couple of them. I'll have to get into.
Yeah, but like he takes it out of his pre-tax, bro, and donates, and then puts his taxes in the end of the year.
Tithes and freaking offering. That's dope. I love it.
That's what
he's
it's about.
Donating heavily to the BNWO right now too. That's another thing.
That's a beautiful thing. So yeah, I am the Cuck Matchmaker, Service Commander, Bunny Trainer, all of the above. You can join the site if you are a sub looking for our own our own part of the universe, theblacknewworldorder.com. You can reach us there. If you're looking for events, matchmaking, I'm actually at a sex party right now as we speak. If you're looking to go to parties, that type of thing specific to what you're interested in, you can get at me at thesensualcircus.com. That is thesensualcircus.com. I'm Twitter, I'm Instagram, I'm everywhere. And we'd love to bring you information that is both current affairs and real world applications as it comes to lifestyle and content, that type of thing. So thanks again for listening to our broadcast, emphasis on broad. You see that lady down there. Hi, Lady Anaconda. Oh,
hi.
Come see us again next Friday. We'll see you again. Peace.
All right. Peace out, everybody.